A group of ninja assassins were terrorizing Gotham. Tuesdays, am I right? They sent half their army after some random paramedic. If only they had sent half the man force they sent after her after Stalin, Bin Laden, or the guy who invented tangerines. Really makes you wonder who the bad guys are. Not really, the game says clearly that they are. Like if you took that statement and melted it down into glass, it wouldn't be any clearer. Speaking of melting, these guys, and I use that term loosely, were working for Clayface. I'd worked for the Joker before I worked for him. I can just imagine payday coming around and him handing me clay dollars. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Make pottery out of it? At least if the Joker pushed me to sulfuric acid, I wouldn't have to worry about rent payments.
Talking damaged nucleotides, unstable phosphate groupings, and synthesis abnormalities.
Why does she speak like she's a science textbook? We have you on the team not so you could bore us with nerd shit, but so you can pack our lunches. I found Clayface, or one of his lackeys. More like lack intelligence, he went right to his lair and made no effort to stop me or anyone else from following him. He might as well have posted, going back to my secret lair, followed by its coordinates on the Gotham City subreddit. That would have been a great marketing technique. Have everyone show up to some random ass sewers, then charge them admission for Clayface's film? It was an action movie filled with a lot of death. His specifically. He ended up getting away, so I went back to our hideout. There, Robin and Jason were competing on who could be more useless. So I went back after Mudman, since I'd rather catch one of his diseases than their stupidity. Clayface turned into a runny nose, and I'll admit, this fight wasn't a piece of cake. Who would have thought that going after a boss, while vastly underleveled, would be challenging? Me, but YOLO, right? As fun as getting clay in my boots, and every orifice imaginable was, our allies needed saving. Next on the list were these cops, one of which had the audacity to shoot me, the only person sitting between him and a wooden bed 6 feet underground. Back to Blue, more like back a semi into their precinct. Next I went to save Lucius Fox, who was a nerd. Maybe if he had spent half the time put into that dorky shield and experiencing the touch of a woman, he wouldn't be such a geek. On top of that, I had to cut into my vacation days just to save him because his security team sucks. So what does he do? Call another one. I'm about to call Bin Laden and tell him to fly a plane right into Lucius's asshole. Right in the center. Tally and her ninja cult were held up at Arkham Asylum. No, not the hit 2009 game, but a former high security prison. I don't see why anyone would want to escape from here. I wish I could tell people that I lived in a Resident Evil location. One that had Wi-Fi and NASA level computers. This one had all the enemies' top secret data right out in the open, unlocked. You went through all the trouble to hide this place, you might as well put a lock on your computers. The power killed itself, and to turn it on, I had to go into this wing, which had a grandma's basement aesthetic. Gosh, I hate that word. I've never spelled it right. And I don't need to. All I need is my PhD. Pretty huge dick. I messed around with instruments that I had no clue how to use, which ended up releasing Man-Bat's albino sex offender cousin. In-game, this fight, or more accurately, racially motivated beatdown, was a piece of cake. Then the game switches to a cutscene and it ends in a draw. Nightwing can survive burns, acids, beatings, being within 10 feet of Robin, but gosh forbid he falls a couple feet. His biggest weakness is a bunk bed without guardrails. Batman had left what he describes as a secret cache. If by secret you mean right out in the open where anyone with Google Maps can find it? Opening it gave me an audio log. How does that work? Is it stored in a USB, or is the audio log just shown in there, and it gets put in my Google Drive when I walk over it? All like Minecraft. Harley Quinn was holding hostages. I'ma become one, so she'll hold me. I mean, look at these sick moves. She was having a gathering that she said was gonna be the bomb. I wouldn't be worried if anybody other than her said that. Tell me how you're gonna advertise a concert you're throwing, and then lock every legal entrance there is. That's like being an Uber driver and going to pick people up, but all your doors are locked. So they have to go through the secret back entrance. I hope that passes inspection. Inside, I dealt with blue-haired children and then their reinforcements. The only thing they're reinforcing is my ego. I found Harley, but instead of fighting me herself, she sent her tier 3 subs. Instead of spending all that money on Harley's OnlyFans, they should have bought Andrew Tate's How to Not Be a Little Bitch 101 course. I mopped the floor with them, so what does she do? Send them after me again. If Logic himself skull-fucked her, there still would not be an ounce of logic in that blonde head of hers. Like Clayface, she escaped, but not before saying my dump truck wasn't very dumpy. I could care less about her getting away. What she's gonna do to however many innocent people is nothing compared to what she just did to my feelings. I resumed my quest for Bat Dino Extinction. This one was just like the other, except it could spawn ninjas. I don't even want to know where it stores them. That bat didn't kill me, but the flight to the next warehouse nearly did. Then the next was 2 million pasta boxes away. I could have said something normal, like football fields or miles, but I like to stand out. I don't see why everything's so spread out. Why can't Nightwing work in the suburbs? How convenient would it be if one house you stop a drug deal, next house over kidnapping, and you stop at 7-Eleven and repeat nightly? I went to this hospital where Nightwing made this guy as afraid of heights as he is. For about 3 seconds. Inside, I found hostage taking going on in a chapel. Don't they remember when God said, "Thou shalt not hold hostages" in hospital churches? These goons were average citizens being mind controlled. Someone like Spider-Man would go easy on them. Nightwing obviously isn't Spider-Man. I once again found Harley. I don't see why any hospital would need a room this big. What, is the Hulk one of their patients? Harley's going to be joining him the way this fight is going. She was losing so bad she had to call her premium snap subs. In the words of Michael Jordan, I took that personally. Harley Quinn was non-kinkily put into handcuffs, and all's well that ends well. Assuming you're one of the people she mind-controlled, killed, and didn't plan on returning to this hospital in the next forever. Did you know that Man-Bat first appeared in Detective Comics number 400? That fact is nearly as useless as these Man-Bats. We found where they were coming from, so we headed over there like a fat person to the Electro scooters at Walmart. Inside, Red Hood gave me this amazing advice.
Get lost down there.
You know what? I actually planned on purposely getting lost. Thanks so much for telling me to not do that. Deeper on, Nightwing was surprised to find one of the Gigabats. Like that wasn't the entire reason we came here. Like, what were you expecting, the Indominus Rex? I bet he also wasn't expecting this plot twist that everyone totally didn't call since the game was announced. I really don't have too much to say on the Batman fight. I mean, it was fun, but so is throwing pipe bombs at elderly homes. Neither are very difficult. Next you fight Talia, who again is easy, since you can deal non-stop damage. With Bruce, you'd appeal to his humanity as an effort to not hurt him. Being that she's a woman, Talia doesn't get the same treatment. For this fight, Talia is a Parasaurolophysis. Just all around useless. But in the next, she gets a Halo CTF-like and turns into a Spinosaurus. My strategy for dealing with her is the same one I use with all women. Stay distant and throw darts at their titties. It worked so well that I started feeling myself and started to show off all my years of flying school. All 0 of them. I announced myself to the world. Now that I'm a public figure, I'm gonna start acting like I'm better than everyone else, and weigh in on every single political issue, and shame everyone who doesn't hold the same beliefs as me. I'd also have to dump my girlfriend, since she just turned 25. Being a celebrity also gave me this new suit. It makes me hard. I mean, it goes hard. You know what else was hard? Not this boss fight. I guess that's what happens when you boss up. And shove 50 grams of Adderall up your ass. The game turned to a high-speed chase. There's a bunch of people you'd want with you in a hot pursuit scenario. Vin Diesel, Michael from GTA, Optimus Prime. My brother isn't one of them. We went to this oven, which Clayface just followed us into. You'd think being made out of clay, he'd know how it works. I guess basic science wasn't taught in Lil Sissy school. With Clayface packed away like Thanksgiving leftovers, we set off to somewhere that has caused a lot of suffering. More than Auschwitz and liquid medicine combined. I'm of course talking about Star Labs, where the Flash has made me want to gouge my eyes out, grind them into a soup, and eat them with a fork. We were joined by Mr. Freeze. Just like how Jesus turned water to wine, he turns water to ice. Very useful on hot summer days. Your water's from sitting in the sun all day? Not a problem, we got the mobile ice maker here. Not only can he make ice out of water, he can also make it out of people. What a specialist. Speaking of specialists, whoever did the interior of this place is definitely one. These guys are criminals. They murder newborns and steal more of people's money than the IRS, but crappily interior decorating is where they draw the line. Same with being competent fighters. This popsicle you see on screen was a scientist working with Freeze. Who would have thought that working with a psychopath would get you killed? Before becoming an ice cube, he left behind a failsafe in case Icicle Man ever did anything crazy. Like this. This is a disrupting device. Batgirl's really missing out. She could have a lot of fun with that thing. Speaking of climate activists, honestly, Freeze needs to loosen up. We get it. You're ugly and your wife's giving you the silent treatment, but that doesn't mean you have to make icicles start growing from my nipples. We KO'd the Ice Cream Man, which completed all of Batman's rogue gallery. Well, all that made the budget cuts. Thank you all for watching. This is my first time doing an outro in a minute. What can I say? I like to switch things up. And 10-minute videos. So does the YouTube algorithm. Peace out, Girl Scouts.